Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I am Lawrence Winterman.
I am Dana Dubois,
Good morning, Dana.
best friend. Good
That's my
morning.
best friend.
Good morning, Lawrence. Tuesdays are fun now because I get
Tuesdays are fun now at Carvel.
those Wednesdays.
Yep.
Wednesdays were Sundays at Carvel, I think.
Right.
Um,
Wednesdays or Sundays.
that's weird because I just said that to Jason Odell, or
Oh,
because he
crazy.
was in Florida and he sent me a picture of a Carvel ice cream cone. And I said Wednesdays or Sundays at Carvel because that's like so deeply entrenched in my brain.
Right.
But
That and
no,
the Miami Herald subscription number, which I can still recite.
I can still sing too. Yeah. 1-800-441
Oh, four, four,
four
four.
four. Um, what I was going to say, Lawrence, is that Tuesdays are so fun because, to quote Journey, I get the joy of rediscovering you because we have not been on air together since Friday, since we're not on the weekends anymore, and you have your Monday show.
You
Um,
don't bring me flowers.
we're going full musical this morning, and look what I have today. Nature
Nature
Naws,
Nas. One
sponsored
of
by
these
the Daily
days,
Whatever Show.
one of these
No,
days, they're going to sponsor us.
one of these days when I write them and I'm like, your treats save my podcast every single day. Um, we're gonna give this to Kira. Here you go, little dog. Go have fun. Go party. Um, Lawrence, we have a very exciting guest joining us today.
We
We have
do. We
Sari
do.
Botton from Oldster and Memoir Land. And I have to tell you that Sari is kind of who I want to be when I grow up. So I'm like very nervous and excited. I'm just thrilled she's coming on the show. And I also wanted to show you something that arrived in the mail, Lawrence. Can I show you this?
Yeah, hang on. I'm emailing with our guest right now.
Oh, okay.
Carry the show for a
I'll
minute, would you,
yes, I will
kid?
talk.
I'm
So
making sure our guest can arrive.
I know when Rachel was on last week with us from oh my god, where's my brain this morning? We're gonna just keep going. Geezer magazine reached out to me and they sent this, Lawrence. Can you see how big this is?
Oh my God, that is
This is Geezer
brilliant.
magazine. This is
That is
Geezer
so
magazine. I know.
nice.
Can you even believe that this is mine and I get to read it soon? I have not read Geezer before. I've heard of it, but that's a Till Tuesday cassette. And this one weirdly says handwritten XTC oranges and lemons. When I was in the cafe writing on Sunday, when I was writing my essay that I published yesterday, they played XTC for at least an hour straight, and I haven't heard a lot of XTC
Wow.
recently. And it was like a very young barista guy playing it, and I was like, I didn't think anyone under 50 knew XTC. And he said my parents used to play this all the time, and I was like, yeah, they did.
There's your answer. My parents
And
used to play it.
I know.
Womp
And so
womp.
you know me, I'm like a double mention is always auspicious. So XTC is here at last I heard Open Secrets magazine. See, my brain's not quite right yet. Rachel from Open Secrets was saying she was going to interview us for a feature in this.
That is amazing, and
And
I
I'm like,
cannot wait.
please make that happen. Look at how gigantic that is compared to the size of my head. And it's just beautiful on the inside, too. I'm just like,
It's like the old interview magazine, like that, like
yes,
super deluxe. Yeah.
yeah. If you look up like
Or old
appeal to,
French Vogue.
we, if you look up appeal to Gen Xers, like this is in your dictionary entry. So
Yeah.
thank you, Geezer.
Speaking of appeals to Gen Xers and
Yep.
French Vogue, The Devil
Yes.
Wears Prada 2 is coming out on Friday. Who already has their tickets?
Lawrence, this is so embarrassing. Who hasn't seen the first one yet?
Oh
I
my
still
God.
haven't.
That
I
is
know.
inconceivable. You have not seen Devil Wears Prada? How?
I'm gonna
How?
I'm gonna prioritize that because I actually said to my kids a few weeks ago, we need to make this a movie night because the second one's coming. And we still haven't watched it because we like squirrel, we do other things.
Well,
So
I look
I know
forward
you
to
love
the
it.
day in which I can quote iconic lines from Devil Wears Prada to you, and you will actually get them.
Right? Wow. Kira's
My
already here
swollen
for more.
stomach flew away from my goal weight.
I do know that line, and that's a good one. I'm going to go ahead and join the chat here, and Lawrence, I have a brand new essay out, and I'm really excited about this. I mean, I always say that, but this is my primary Substack publication. I write out loud is memoir based. And it's becoming a home for my creative nonfiction. So sometimes I'm sharing older stories, sometimes I'm writing new ones. This is the second week in a row with a net new one. Plus, in the middle, there was this great big birthday party we threw. So
Right, that whole Michigas, that whole
that
thing.
whole thing. And so I'm going to share it here. I'm going to say
Oh,
hello.
can I hang on one second? Hang on one second,
Yes.
Dana.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to let you know that we see you, that you're here. Congratulations.
Yay!
We'll bring you on in just a moment. So yeah, Dana's gonna do her spiel, and then we'll bring you on.
I'm going to
But
make
you
it a
made it.
quick.
You did it, and it wasn't you. It was Substack. It's not your fault.
It is always Substack, occasionally StreamYard, but usually Substack fighting with StreamYard. Um, this essay is called All Gen X Dating is Grief.
I'm so
And
excited to read it. You sent it late last night, and we were doing a thing up over
you and
here,
Sharver,
so
yeah.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But I know you've been working on it. How did it turn out?
I think it came out really well. It's funny though, you know me, Lawrence, and my propensity to fine tooth comb my own work. And because I Write Out Loud has an every Monday cadence, I was like, I have to finish this. It has to be done. And when I read it out loud at like midnight before the 5 a.m. Monday push when I did the recording. And as I read it out loud, I was like, I really want to take like, and it's like 99% of the way there. And I was like, Dana, sometimes life happens and you have to push it out the door. You are your own worst critic. I love this essay. It's a line I said out loud spontaneously a few months ago. All Gen X dating is grief, and I have revisited multiple times since then. And it's the idea that there is acute grief and there is chronic grief. But if you are our age, 50 somethings, and you are looking for love, anyone who you meet in this age group is managing a grief, whether they are freshly divorced, they are widowed, or they, like me, are just sort of have this partnership gap in their life for a prolonged period of time.
I
Um,
wonder if this is a uniquely straight perspective, though, because I mean,
I was
sweetie,
just
this
going
is
to ask
why I
that.
date guys who are 20 years younger than me.
True.
They're not pre-griefed.
Lawrence, I would say that that's true. And also, you may be doing yourself a disservice because grief is a way in which we connect. And the sort of guiding premise of this over here in Straightland, and we can talk more about this when we don't have one of my personal heroes waiting to come in and talk to us. But I think if our griefs can't meet and find one another and relate to one another and understand each other, the relationship is doomed. And a lot of the behaviors I've noticed over the years that I have had different names for in my writing, I'm like, oh, this is just how grief is showing up.
Yeah,
That's the theory of this
I
essay.
I can't wait to read it. I think without further ado, we should bring our guest on
We
screen.
should.
Sari Botton, welcome to the Daily Whatever Show.
Thank
Hello.
you. Thank you. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it is so great to meet you. We had a show booked a few weeks ago and a scheduling snafu, so it feels like good things are worth the wait. So it's
Oh,
wonderful
thank you.
to have you here. And oh my gosh, I have to look to my bigger screen to try to read every book behind you before we start. Not really, but I love the bookcase behind you.
Thank you.
Wow, founder of Oldster magazine and Memoir Land. Um, I'm going to ask you to, I'm going to just gush. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and, for those who don't know you in the chat, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Sari Botton, and here on Substack, I have 3 newsletters.
Amazing.
But the 2 that are magazines are Oldster and Memoirland. And before that, I was the personal essays editor at a website called Long Reads for 5 years. And before that, I published two best-selling essay anthologies, Goodbye to All That and Never Can Say Goodbye. And I'm getting ready to publish another anthology, which is Oldster. I just announced that in the last few days. So I'm very, very excited to be publishing that with Harper One. My editor will be Rakesh Satyal, and it's going to be a wonderful book. What else can I tell you about me? I am a memoirist also. I published a memoir called And You May Find Yourself, Confessions of a Late Blooming Gen X Weirdo. I published that 4 years ago. And I'm a memoirist and essayist, and I'm very much immersed in personal narrative. It's what I love, what I love to read and write. Um, and here I am. I'm on your show.
We're so excited you're here. And Sari, first of all, apologies for mispronouncing your name. And
Everybody does. Everybody does. It's
yeah,
okay.
I'm sure. As a Gen X Jewish woman, you're one of us. We
One
could
of
call this
us.
show, three Gen X Jews talk about.
Right? Hold on. I'm going to turn my camera because I feel like my head looks super large next to yours. Okay.
Oh,
I already
well,
have a
no, it's
big
the
head.
perspective. I could move in closer. Let's see what I can do
No, but then
here.
we wouldn't see all of your amazing bookshelf. You are completely good.
Can I jump in and say I love that you had a dream about starting a magazine called Oldster and then joked about it and then we're like, "Oh my god, no wait, actually that's a brilliant idea." Like my muse often drops things on my head as I'm waking up from a dream, and so I'm so happy to hear another person has that experience too.
Yeah, I have a very vivid dream life.
Mm.
And often ideas come to me uh like it's really wild. Like I go into this state like when I'm napping or and like great ideas come to me. I mean, I guess sometimes you really got to slow your mind. But yeah, I had a series at Longreads called Fine Lines, and when I left there I knew that I wasn't done with this the topic of aging, and I also knew that I needed a different name, and I for over a year I could not come up with another cool name. And then, yeah, in the middle of the night, well, actually, like just before I woke up, I had this dream that I started a magazine called Oldster. And it took me a few beats to realize, wait, actually, that's like a really cool name.
That is a cool
Um,
name. It's such a
Right,
good story, and it's taken off like a rocket. I mean, I don't remember what the latest subscriber count is, but the recently 70,000. I think it's up past 100 at this
no,
point.
I'm up to 85,000.
Okay,
And then Memoirland has like another 35,000. Like
yeah.
it's crazy. People are reading what I'm putting out there, and it makes me feel amazing. I'm just really glad that people are connecting with my work.
And
I
oh, go
I
ahead,
love
Dana.
that because
Sorry.
yeah, as a fellow memoirist, though a humble one, saying that to you, um, and someone who's reasonably new to Substack, we just celebrated our first year of the Daily Whatever Show last
Congratulations.
week. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is hard to catch air. Is that's the phrase that keeps coming to mind for me is catch air. Like it doesn't even necessarily have to do with the quality of work always. It's the like, did it hit a cultural moment? What makes something go bigger on Substack? And I can even feel the difference since we first joined that the space is very full with short form writing and notes through lives like this. How long have you been on Substack? And how did you find Oldster caught air?
Well, I've been on Substack since 2019.
Oh, that's
Um,
Oh
amazing.
wow.
yeah, I mean, back when like Hamish McKenzie was doing tech support.
Nice.
I'm
um,
gonna have Kira say hello to you for a moment.
oh, hi.
She's coming for her treats that she knows I ply her with to keep her quiet.
Very sweet.
I've trained
Um,
her well.
yeah, so my personal blog, Adventures in Journalism, I started that in 2019 when I was working at Longreads. I didn't put paid subscriber links on it. It was just like, a place to put my thoughts. But then in 2021, I launched both Memoirland and Oldster. Memoirland had grown out of Memoir Monday, which was given to me by Lily Danziger. It's a long story, but I rebranded it. But anyway, 2021 was a very good time to gain traction on Substack. It was a lot less crowded, but I also had a platform. I had all these things that people knew me from. I've published 2 modern love essays in the New York Times. I had these 2 very successful, perennially successful anthologies that people knew about. People knew me from long reads, and also I published. I was an editor at Catapult, so I had a platform. And when I went out with Oldster in August of 2021, it was, people hadn't heard from me in a while, and there had been this pandemic. And so people were like, oh, Sari's back. So it helped that I already had this platform and kind of an audience that was waiting to hear from me. And so as soon as I offered this, they were like, yes, thank you. And so that helped. It helped that, and also so I was recently featured in the New York Times, which was very exciting. And I got emails from people congratulating me on my overnight success. And I've been at this for 40 years. So what you're seeing
Yes.
is the culmination of 40 years of a lot of yellow and red lights. Suddenly it's all green lights for me, but it wasn't like that for a long time. I didn't just show up now, you know, I've
Right.
been working on this. I've been developing everything that I do for a really long time.
Yeah,
And
we talk
isn't
about
that
that
just
here
such?
a lot on the Daily Whatever show. We started as Gen Xy, and we talk about Gen X being a late blooming generation, right? That we kind of had to wait our turn for all the boomers who just kind of kept hanging on to their jobs longer and longer. And now and then millennials and Gen Z are coming up, and so we kind of got squished. And I know that your memoir, you reference yourself as a late blooming Gen X weirdo, and we kind of feel that way too, right? Like, do you think
Yes.
that's a generational thing for us?
It is kind of a generational thing. Gen X is so messed up. Like we we really, we're like the stepchildren of all the demographics. Like um I think, and I've talked about this a lot, but I really believe it. I really believe that the ways in which our parents changed through the sexual revolution made it very confusing to us about how to be adults.
Yeah,
And we were also made adults too early. I
yeah,
mean, it's not just me.
Right.
I'm really describing in my memoir a phenomenon. It's
yeah,
not just me. And um
Right.
we were latchkey kids, very young, and we were coming home from school and, making our own dinner, and like, which was very confusing. And then all of a sudden our parents were like, just, they had this sort of second adolescence, and it was just jarring what they were modeling. They modeled this in the 60s and that in the 70s and that in the 80s. And it made no sense to us. And we had to write our own rules about being adults. And maybe we didn't even want to be adults, because
right.
why would you be an adult if your parents, who started out like the parents in Dick and Jane and then turned into these like disco ducks? Like, who wants to be an adult? That didn't look like fun. They didn't like it, you know?
Oh my
Right,
God, Dick and
right,
Jane and Disco Ducks.
It
right.
is really what we witnessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for you and Dana, it was through your parents getting divorced. For me, it was my dad died, when I was 14. And yeah, we like as a generation, I'm not going to say everyone in the generation had that experience, but for so many of us, it was about a traditional looking family that was suddenly not traditional looking,
Yeah.
and all of the weird social baggage that came with that, right? Like there was shame around divorce when our parents got divorced, right? Or it was weird being the kid of a single mother in that time frame.
Well, it was there was a big divorce boom.
Right.
It went from being this very shameful, talked about, to like, I am woman, hear me roar, I'm leaving. And it just
Right.
became this you know, yeah, it was a big contradiction, and also just suddenly the
Yeah.
norm. Suddenly it was the norm. It had been this thing that I had witnessed, people in my neighborhood getting divorced, and I was very anxious about it. I would go to bed at night and like pray to God, don't let my parents get divorced.
Right.
I don't want to be a divorce kid. The divorce kids among us, they were just so bedraggled. Their clothes
Mm.
never matched because they didn't have the right clothes in the right house, and they were neglected to a degree. And I just was like, please don't let that ever happen to me. And I remember the night my parents told me they were separating, and I said, I'll be from a broken home. And it was true, and
Sorry.
it was hard. It was hard. And but also divorce is necessary. I am also divorced. People
Same.
shouldn't stay married if they're
Same.
unhappy, but I also think that back then they didn't really have great ideas about how to take care of the kids' emotional needs through the divorce. I
Right.
think that there's a lot better ideas now. Like, one idea that I think is amazing is nesting.
Yeah.
Do you know about this? Where like
Absolutely. Yeah.
the kids aren't the ones who go back and forth, the parents are. So the kids get to stay in their house, in their rooms. They're not like shuttled back and forth for an hour each way. They live in the house, and the parents get an apartment that they take turns with. Like, that's brilliant. It's so much less disruptive to the children.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was very jarring to us. I think it's part of why uh, Gen X is as messed up as we are. Um,
Yeah. I have a thought on that. I have a bunch of thoughts that are hitting my head as you're talking about it. And the one about our childhood is that because divorce was new ish, like the commonly the exception, sorry, where was my vocabulary today? It was so accepted or so not accepted before it rapidly became accepted. They didn't know how to do it without kind of detonating the bridge behind them. My parents, like my dad, would drop me off at my mom's and wouldn't come in, wouldn't talk to
right,
her. Um, I knew when it would be a big occasion like a graduation and they'd both be there, the room would be very tense. It was mostly led by my dad. And that modeled very poor family skills for us, right? It was a destabilized home, as you're talking about.
right,
And here's what I would propose that Gen X did differently, and it makes some things hard in dating as a Gen X adult now, is that we have so moved in the other direction for many of us like me that like I go on vacations with my ex and our kids and our homes are within a mile of one another. They go back and forth very effortlessly. We're very good friends.
that's
um
wonderful. That's
it
really
is wonderful.
wonderful.
Thank you. It is wonderful. I'm really grateful for it. And I have this half essay brewing in my head of have you heard of the phenomenon lat, that as people get older, they live alone together? Couples are lat couples where they each have their own home. They never plan to merge their finances,
Yes, yes,
living
yes,
alone
yes.
together. I was like, I'm in a flat relationship, families living alone together, because the relationships I've been in have never, like when our parents divorced, they remarried very quickly, a lot of them. Mine both did, because the expectation was this heteronormative, you have to be married. And that happened. Gen Xers don't pair off again as quickly. And when we do, and we have families, we don't tend to merge them. At least I never have in my experience.
Ah,
It's like, I'll see you in my off days and do your off days, coordinate. And it becomes this more distant relationship, the new one, because the old one still has so many like fibers connecting it for the kids. The family structure is
yeah,
still so intact. There's not a lot of space. I don't know. Have you ever
interesting.
experienced anything like that? Because that's a thing I have noted for myself and for some of my peers.
Well, one of the things I notice about my friends who got divorced and are dating, and there are children involved, they take more time before introducing their new partner.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and I mean, I remember my mother going on dates, and the date would come and pick my mom up and talk to us. And, like, there was a lot of like, oh, we like this guy and now we're never seeing him again. And,
Right.
um, that was weird. There was this one guy, there was this
Oh my
one
God.
guy who would come and like dance and sing for us.
What?
And do magic tricks. Oh, no, that was a different one. There was, okay, so there was the one guy who would come and
Wow.
sing and dance for us, and then there was this guy. His name was Hal, and he had these magic tricks that involved these like um these foam rubber balls, like they would. And when my mother's on again, off again boyfriend found out that she had been dating this guy, he's like, oh no, not Hal rubber balls.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
Apparently he was legendary, Hal rubber balls.
How rubber balls.
Yeah, Hal rubber balls. And he would show up with like, here, there's the ball. Now where's the ball? That kind of thing. So Hal rubber balls.
Oh
I
my
in my
God.
imagination, I love thinking that he like took some class where he clipped it out of the back of a magazine where how to entertain your
Yeah,
potential date's kids while
exactly.
you're picking her
Exactly.
up for a date.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I cannot even imagine that. I joke that dating while I should talk quietly because my kids are upstairs. That like dating while having teens is very similar to like trying to have sex when you are a teenager. That
Ah,
you're like constantly ducking around and yeah, I don't. I mean, we have built into our divorce agreement that like you don't introduce the kids to anyone until the other like the adult knows about this person already. There will be no like, oh, I met Susie was hanging out with us. Who's Susie for the parents? Like that we're actually not allowed to introduce.
it's
Um,
good. It's
it
really
is
good.
good. It's because we didn't want Hal rubber balls showing up. Right?
I also
They're not
I
getting over that
remember like
easily.
my friends' parents were, there was one at a sleepover. Her parents, who were getting divorced, had a huge knockdown drag out fight in the kitchen, and they were throwing plates at each other. And another one, I'd go to her house for sleepovers, and her mother would be like in bed with her boyfriend, talking to us from bed. Like it was just the 70s were just insane.
A free
Somebody
for
needs to
all.
make a movie about like Gen X going through, the divorce boom. Maybe I have to write it.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
think you
Uh,
are either the person to write it or to elevate the person who needs to write it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
my most tragic experience was when my mom was dating again. This one guy she was dating came over and brought us a Hall and Oates album, and I was kind of like,
You're
"Cool,
out of touch.
Hall and Oates, that's great, man. Thanks."
He was
I
trying,
mean, no
Lawrence.
shade against Hall and Oates, but in the moment, it was not the coolest thing.
It wasn't. The kids have like picked up on Hall and Oates. The kids, like for a solid 15 years or so, I think Hall and Oates have become like very retro cool. And I'm like,
Right.
they were not cool in the day. They were like adult easy listening. I mean, that's so funny, Lawrence. So Lawrence and I have known each other since the fourth grade, Sari. So we have like
Oh,
a lot of stories that go way back. We grew up in South Florida together. Um, I followed him out to Seattle. I'm still here. He's in
nice.
now. But yeah, the intent of this show in large part was like, let's open up our friendship to the
Ah,
world and just have these
sweet.
conversations. Yeah, thank you. Um, I touched on something that I think is fascinating about you, which is you are not just a writer yourself. You are elevating other writers. Um, this is my brain. I just had like three questions I want to ask you. I'll start with this one. When how do you decide? Because we all have so many hours in a day, right? Which part of your professional life is focusing on elevating versus around writing, and how do those two things like support one another? I imagine I can see that the work is very much in the same lane.
Well, literary citizenship is really important to me.
Mm.
Oh,
Um, and it's it's something that has also supported my career as a writer, being part of a community that has events and has workshops and all kinds of information to share, that is a really great way to support your own writing, learn about opportunities, network. And it's also, though, exciting to watch other people uh, take off, and also I enjoy reading so much. So the two
Yes.
are deeply, deeply intertwined and have been for a long time. Um, you know, some of it is, in literary citizenship, we often have to wait our turn. And while we're waiting our turn, we celebrate other people, and hopefully that comes back to us when it's our turn. And so, that's a philosophy I've been steeped in for a long time, and active in. But I'm not just a writer, I'm an editor.
Yeah.
And and as an editor, I enjoy working with writers on their work, sharing their work. I can't write everything in the world, and there are people with perspectives that I don't have, experiences I don't have. And so it's very exciting for me to work with other writers on their writing, and publish it, and also to share, the link roundups that I do at Memoirland and Oldster allow me to share more work than I can personally be involved in.
Yes.
Um, I just enjoy that role. I enjoy just being part of this wonderful scene that is about, writing and reading and ideas and personal experiences, personal narrative. It's an honor to be a part of this. It's an honor to have given a lot of people their first bylines, to have contributed to people ultimately getting their first book deals. It feels like an honor and a pleasure for me. This is
Yeah.
what I love to do. So, and I get to do it.
That's really amazing. It's so interesting because you said something really powerful there about, part of literary citizenship is waiting your turn. And and I'm kind of comparing and contrasting that to kind of the another thing that you've written about and talked about, which is like suddenly finding yourself sort of aged out, right? That, before you were ready to be done with your career, people didn't come knocking. After long reads, you were sort of waiting for the big invitation that never came, and that's a part of where Oldster came from. Talk to us a little bit about that, like the tension between that sort of waiting your turn and also, is it possible to wait your turn so long that you miss your chance?
Yeah, yeah, it is. No, I've had chances, and there's also the whole thing of, like, you do want to eventually step out of the picture to make room for younger people.
Right.
But 54 is not that old,
Right. That's what I keep
54,
saying.
at 54, I shouldn't be, having interviewers say to me, "Isn't it time to try something new? Haven't you done enough of that?" Like,
Oof.
yeah, it just surprised me that I was encountering that at 54.
Yeah.
I really didn't think I was, yeah, and the jobs that I was interested in were going to people in their 30s.
Yep.
And you know that's great, but I also think that I have a breadth of experience and I'm not anywhere near done. And I think I'm proving it at my two magazines, Oldster and Memoirland.
Yeah.
Um, like, I work like a maniac. I work long, long days, many days, lots of
Yes.
weekends, because I'm trying to do everything I can do before it's too late.
Right.
But yeah, it can happen. It can pass you by. You have to self advocate, you know, within literary citizen, that literary citizenship.
Yes.
You have to
We're
self
gonna clip that
advocate
one,
every now.
Sari, just so you know.
What?
We're gonna
Yeah.
clip that moment.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
Please.
kidding.
Um, it's just, you have to stand up for yourself, but you
Yeah.
also have to really have your ducks in a row before you stand up for yourself.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you
Yes.
have to you have to have published a number of personal essays. You have to have a really tight book proposal. You have to have built a platform for yourself, so that when it really is your turn. You're ready. You're really ready, and either you've got everything you need to go out there by yourself, or if you have an agent, the agent has everything they need, that it's going to be worth their time to invest in trying to help you. So it's a combination of waiting your turn and cheering others on and doing your work at the same time,
Right.
building yourself
Yes.
Right.
up. You can't just expect that because you are part of the scene, you are entitled to a place in it. You have to
Right.
be doing the work.
We had a
Yes.
comment in the chat. Katrina Ann Will says, as a 56-year-old who has aged out of the tech industry, you're such an inspiration, Sari. And as a
Yes.
56 who's aged out of the tech industry myself, and a queer guy who feels like, kind of, I was part of the movement to fight for rights. And there's a little bit of the younger generation being like, okay, old white man, time to sit down. I'm like, I'm not old. I'm 56.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I think
Lord,
this is going to get worse as we get older.
Right, right.
it is. It's
This
not the
is just
sort
the
of thing that
beginning.
tends to get better, is it? Lawrence, do you see? No, I want to be Sari when I grow up.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Right.
I
Well,
had a
I mean, there's
very
something super legit to, yeah, yeah, I'm an overnight success. I've only been working 40 years to get
Literally
here,
40
right?
years.
You
yeah.
just started paying attention. Thanks for showing up.
Oh my gosh, in the lane of Oldster, and at the start of the show, I don't know if you heard or saw me say this, but Geezer
Ah,
just mailed me this beautiful thing, and the thought just went through my head. Um, Oldster and Geezer are the new loser. Like this is all very Gen X, isn't it?
Hmm.
And
it
maybe
is.
it's because I live out west and I'm an indie music nerd, but with Sub Pop Records being out here and Loser being, do you remember the big t-shirts that just said Loser on
Yeah.
them
Yep.
from the
Yep.
90s? Yeah, lose like that's why these words resonate with the age group you're looking for because they're self-deprecating, but there's also a sense of ownership in taking the words back.
Yes.
And
Reappropriating them. I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah,
yeah, I think Beck made Loser cool.
uh-huh.
Um, But yes, Paul von Zielbauer, I think that's how you say his name. He profiled me for Geezer magazine,
It's-
and yeah, and it's a beautiful big,
yeah.
magazine to sit down with and flip through with great graphics.
I'm excited to dig into that one. It just arrived yesterday, so good timing. And one of the many things I love about Oldster is I see an awful lot of things marketed to our age group that are about aging, and they have this very like, oh, we're so old. They're very much aging focused, where
Yeah,
you are very much creating a new lane for how we age that is very Gen X in focus, in my opinion. It's very like we are late bloomers, but we are multi hyphenate and we are just coming into our creative and professional power now. Or now, don't overlook us. Was that intentional when you started Oldster, or did it grow organically from the ground up?
um, I knew that I wanted to be focused on possibility. I didn't like the messages the culture was giving me about getting older. Um, and and I knew that for myself, my chronological age did not match how I present myself to the world.
Sure.
And, uh, and I knew that I had a lot more possibility left in me. And so I think, and yet I also didn't want Oldster to have like toxic positivity. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
talk about my arthritis all the time, my hot flashes, and I have people in the questionnaire talk about what's hard about being their age. It's not, people talk about loss all the time, the loss that comes with age.
Mhm.
Those are realities, but there's also much more possibility than the culture wants you to know. And so I knew that I wanted to touch on that. I also will add that for me, Oldster doesn't come out of like we need something better than AARP. It comes out of something I've been obsessed with, curious about, anxious about since I was 10 years old. So the sense that I was off track has dogged me my entire life.
I
And
so vibe with that.
Oh my
right.
God.
And
Yes.
and
Yes.
it started very young. I was always doing things either earlier than my peers or younger than or older than them. Like I
Yes.
wasn't doing anything at the right time.
Right.
And so it created this anxiety, and I wanted to investigate, like, is there a right time? Is there a wrong time? How do you feel about it? What's your experience of aging? And so that's really where this came from. And I
Love
have
it.
a history of working in personal narrative. I also worked at a wonderful nonprofit called TMI Project, where we did like moth style storytelling, live storytelling, and we got people to talk about the parts of their stories that they usually leave out. So I have been interested in other people's stories about their experiences. That, to me, that is the best way to learn. Better than a self-help book for me is a memoir on the topic of whatever the self-help book
Mm.
might be.
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
and so I wanted people to come to my magazine and tell everybody, what's your experience of aging? What's the good? What's the bad? What's the surprising? More than me telling an audience, this is
Yes.
what aging should be like. It's more like, let's collect some data. Let's have people tell us about their experience of getting older, regardless of where they are along this long timeline of life that includes aging from day one.
Right.
Right.
I
We can't.
love that story, that image of you at your 10th birthday party, your uncle saying, like, you'll never be single digits again. And your mind just going, like, oh my God.
It was
Oh,
such a
I
big thing. It was like, wait, there's this big milestone. There's a portal I just stepped through.
Right,
Why
right.
didn't
Why didn't
anybody
anyone tell
warn
me in
me?
advance?
I
Yeah.
remember having that exact same reaction to turning 10. And I actually remember my mom being really, I remember being perceptive enough at 10 to see that my mom was really sad that her oldest child, was in double digits. And I said to her something like, well, at least I'm not 14 yet. Like, I was trying to comfort my mom, which that's pretty typical that it was my milestone and I was having to comfort her. Sorry, if you had to summarize, like, elevator pitch, you have 60 seconds. What are the dominant themes about aging that you have seen across these essays that you edit for Oldster?
Well, one is that people really carry other versions of themselves, prior versions of themselves in their minds.
Mm,
And it's
Mm,
not just me. I mean, I was experiencing it, and so I put it in the questionnaire, and almost every respondent has another age in their mind that they associate with themselves, at least one, often multiple.
for
And
sure.
it
mhm.
turns out
Guilty.
that it's a studied phenomenon, and Jennifer Senior wrote a piece about it in the Atlantic, and she quoted me. It's like a
Ooh,
psychological phenomenon that is documented. So that's one thing. Another thing is that there is great possibility later in life. And when I was freaking out about turning 60, and I freaked out publicly for like a year and a half on the Oldster about it, people commented, my life took off at 60, at 65, at 70, at 75. I started something new. I started a new relationship. I figured out who I really was. I shed all the false versions of myself. I mean, there's so much possibility. Yes, they are also still experiencing, the ravages of time and gravity. However, there are so many more possibilities than our culture wants you to know, because marketers want to sell you solutions to
right.
problems, and so they want to make aging a problem. And what else is there?
I think
uh,
death, right? Didn't you say at some point that people really
pe-
want to talk about death?
People want to talk about death, but they also, one of the things that they identify as the hardest is losing people.
Right.
Mhm.
The longer you live, the more people you lose. And I remember when my mother-in-law, who died at 94, when she was 92 and she broke her hip and she really went into a deep depression, she would say things like, everybody's dead. Everybody I knew is dead. And it
Mhm.
was, it's hard. But also, people want to talk about death. They want to be less afraid of death. They want people, there's an awareness like, oh, I should really plan for death. I've had some interesting contributors talk about things like writing your obituary now as really a bucket list. That was Karen Salmonson wrote about that.
Oh yeah.
um and Rebecca Sofer talked about new ways to approach grief. There is so much that we can do differently than prior generations when it comes to aging and death.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to add those voices to Oldster so that people can learn from them.
Yeah. Our friend Jason Odell in the chat said,
At
at
54.
54, I now stock up on yard site candles when they go on sale. I literally bought a box of 12.
That's hilarious. They're
Oh
also really
my
good if you
God.
have a blackout.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah, that's it. That should be like a specific kind of trope, right? The
yeah,
Jewish family that ends up burning all their yard site candles during a blackout because they don't have anything else.
I re-
exactly.
Yeah,
I
have
have
done that.
memory of my family doing that. Yep, yep. So, Sari, if someone is interested in writing for one of your publications, um, how can they go about doing that?
There are too many people who want to write for my
I
publications.
had a feeling.
Yeah. I don't really have right now an open call for submissions. Um, People find ways to get at me, and if it works, it works. But I'm one person publishing two magazines, and right now it's just too much to have an open call for submissions.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that.
I'm wondering what so I'm sure this is a question that's been asked of you before, but sort of the, secret of success, thing that surprised you, blah, 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 like if you could go back and tell your younger self, like what is the nugget of wisdom you think that has surfaced over time that is maybe not what a younger you would have guessed that it would be?
It is definitively when I follow my curiosity, I succeed.
Ah,
It is, it has borne out so many times. And so often in the past, I halted myself.
yeah.
I knew I had a great idea, but who the hell was I? And with my anthologies in particular, starting with Goodbye to All That, everybody who's anybody in publishing said to me, great idea, but you can't do it. And finally, I did it. I just did it. I did it
Yeah.
between agents. I got my own deal. Um, and it is a perennial bestseller 13 years later. And in 2021, Seal Press had me reissue it with 7 new essays. So,
Mm.
that was like the first really clear bell saying, follow your curiosity. And Oldster is the biggest example of that. Um, I am obsessed, curious, anxious about the subject of getting older, of traveling through time in a human body.
Hmm.
And I wanted to know more about other people's experiences, and I wanted to learn more and share more. And it has borne out. It is so when I follow my curiosity, I succeed.
I that resonates so much. Uh, I'm having a moment right now where, peptides are having a moment in the world, right? And AI obviously is having a moment. And I am a displaced tech worker from AI and from ageism. And I recently kind of went on this, rabbit hole curiosity thing. And I was like, there's no good website that tells you, does this peptide work or not? What is the
Mm,
clinical data? So I have built a website using AI to help me do the research, and I'm having the best freaking time,
that's
like I
great.
I love it. And so I really resonate with, I think this thing is going to be successful because I'm so passionate and curious about it. And it is absolutely a thing that I'm certain 100 people would have told me, you can't do that. You know, you don't know what
Yeah,
you're
that's
talking about.
great. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Also a key component of that is because I'm curious about it, because I'm so interested in this, whether or not it succeeded, I was going to do it,
Right, right.
and I was in it because I cared about it. And so that is the first payoff. That is the and and then it attracts other people with similar interest.
Yep.
Oh, and it
Yeah.
only takes 40 years to make it happen, only 40.
Uh-oh, Lawrence. As you're talking, I'm like,
I
this is
mean,
the
hey, if I
ethos of
take these
why we're here.
peptides, I could be here in 40 years, right?
Well, no, I
Right?
mean, but no, but your idea won't take 40 years to take off. You've already put in the time in the tech work and so you are also at this point of fruition,
Right.
you know?
That's exactly the way I'm looking at it, right? Like I'm very AI skeptical. I'm not sure that I'm a fan. There are big reasons for us not to do it in the way that
Yeah.
we're doing it. And yet, all of the things that I know, web design and content management and project management, I'm doing the work of 20 people with this, AI bot and building something that I could never have built alone before. And that's crazy and amazing and terrifying.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I thank you for that nugget of wisdom. That really hits home super hard today. Thanks.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah. It's true.
I love the idea of following your curiosity, and also the reward for the work first has to be the work itself.
Right.
And I'm just thinking that about, I mean, so many endeavors in my life. Three Imaginary Girls, my old music website here in Seattle. The reason Lawrence and I get up every morning, I'm on the West Coast. That alarm goes off at 5:30. I am not a morning person, but I get up because I love this. I love talking to Lawrence. I love elevating all of the people we have had on this show and getting to know them. And if the success comes, amazing. And it's foundational, like you were talking about, when your number gets pulled. And also, you have to love the work itself first. And I feel like this may be my family of origin, but maybe this is a universal Gen X thing. My family has no regard for all of these things that I do on the side. I have a corporate day job that I go do also because I need to keep my life going. But it's there's this dismissiveness of like, if it's not earning money, it's not the real work. And to me, I'm like, the thing that gets me out of bed literally every day because it fuels me, the thing that keeps me up at night writing, like that's the more interesting part of me and of everyone else, right? Like, so many of us are creators on the side because we have to make our lives go.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I
What
mean,
is
I'm
this a
really a
Gen X
writer on the
thing?
side. I'm really a writer on the side of being an editor,
Right.
Yeah.
to a degree. I mean, it's been this way. I've been a reporter and an editor while trying to establish myself as a memoirist and essayist for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I still need to do it.
Yeah.
Um, we all find our ways, but I also remember, like, when I was coming up and I was trying to establish myself as an essayist and memoirist, um that when people would say to me, you have to do it because you love it, that's the first reward, and there might not be another reward. I remember being so frustrated by that. I remember being like, oh God, like I just have to write it for myself. um but over time, I realized that the more I wrote it for myself, the better I got. And then also becoming a literary citizen, being involved in workshops and writers groups and getting feedback from people, it made me a better writer, and it made me worthy of where I then headed. So, there's a lot to it, and there are a lot of rewards, but the first reward has to be that you are enjoying this, you care about it, whether or not it is successful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna so take that with me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
I
I think
also
we
want to
need to.
say we need to ask her a
Oh,
question,
sorry,
don't
Dana.
we?
I was going to say, I think we need to transition to our last question, especially because I really want to hear Sari's answer to this.
I
Uh-oh.
do as well. And before I ask, I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you, Karen Marie Shelton and Yanni Hamburger, for your amazing job moderating on Substack and on YouTube. And there's just been so many wonderful comments coming in. I sometimes like to read them on air, and they've just been going by so quickly. I haven't had a chance to read many of them. But we're so grateful you all are here, that you are keeping the conversation very vibrant and going in the chat is so heartening. So thank you. Sorry, everyone is loving your work and talking
Oh,
about how much inspiration they're taking from it as well.
oh, wonderful.
All that said, Here is our very hard-hitting final question. Are you
Yeah,
ready?
it's a tough
Okay.
one. No wrong
You're gonna
answers.
knock this one out of the ballpark. What is the most Gen X song of all time? And chat, you can weigh in as well.
Um, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Uh, yeah,
Okay, super legit answer.
I like that you're asking it like we know that there's a single answer. There
Right, right.
is definitely not a single answer. We do get that one is a frequently picked one.
Is
I
it?
mean, it's so like yeah, I mean it's so iconic, and it
Yeah. What's the answer, like your secret heart answer? Like what's the song that you're almost embarrassed to say is the epitome of Gen X music?
Stay by Lisa Loeb.
Nice.
That's such a
Well,
karaoke favorite. Oh my
well,
god.
I'm probably gonna do it. I'm doing a Gen X karaoke night at
Oh my
Sid Gold's Request Room, the piano bar, June 10th. It's already
Oh my God,
sold
god.
Jen
out.
is booking a
I'd
ticket
tell
right
you to
now.
share the link, but it's sold out.
I am
Um,
booking my ticket right now. I have. I'm going to sneak in or just listen at the back door and sing along. Oh my god! Wait, a Gen X karaoke at a piano bar. So it's a
Piano
you're
karaoke. Piano karaoke. It's
that
it's my
is
favorite place in the world, Sid Gold's, and he has
oh
it's Joe McGinty, and he has a number of outposts. One in Detroit. I forget where the other ones are. I love Sid Gold's, and there's this. So June 10th, we're doing an Oldster night of Gen X piano karaoke.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that makes me want
and
to cry. I want to go to that so badly. That's like everything I love in one space. Oh my gosh. I have increasingly I'm like, I need to go to New York. We keep
oh
meeting all
yeah,
these amazing people from New York. I have not been in decades. And my daughter nearly picked a college in New York. She's not going to that college because I don't want her to start life utterly financially bankrupted. So and she doesn't want that either. But man, Lawrence, New
yeah.
York is calling me. And what is the name of the piano bar again? Sid's.
Sid Gold's Request Room. It's on West 26th Street, and it's amazing.
Nice.
Um, oh my gosh, Sid Gold's request room. I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna go look at pictures. I
So
love it.
before we let you go, remind everyone in the chat where they can find you. Oldster Magazine, obviously here on Substack. What are the other great ways to find you and follow your work?
Well, I have a website, saribotton.com, Saribotton. It is pronounced like Larry Cotton. Um, and also, I'm on all the socials as just at Sari Botton, one word. And yeah, oldster.substack.com, also oldstermagazine.com will get you there. And Memoirland. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It was great chatting with you guys.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
It's so much fun to find, another one of us, right? Like another Gen Xer who's been on such a similar path. And we're so delighted for your success, your overnight success.
Right. Yeah.
You're a
Congrats on not
shining
working that
example of
hard and
what can
just
happen.
going straight to the New York Times, right? Just like
Thank
poof.
you. Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
yes. Everyone follow Sari on all of these channels. Please subscribe. That helps signal to Substack that everyone should see this. Oh, I should also shout out Jason Odell has put a link in the chat. We compile all of the song picks. So I hope you got Lisa Loeb Stay. I know that was not on there yet, Jason. And
Yeah.
we do have a Spotify and an Apple playlist of these songs. So if you want to get your Gen X music on, Jason has made that possible. Thanks to everyone for being here. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with special guest Walter Ryan, and we will be talking to two different political candidates, very progressive candidates running for office as part of our ongoing series to elevate those kinds of candidates. So go forth and enjoy your Tuesdays, everyone. We love
Sari,
you,
thank
mean
you so
it.
much. Take care, everybody. Love
Thank you
you,
for
mean it.
having me.
Bye.
Oh my gosh,
Bye.
thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.